not very full.
So normally we do a big intro, welcome back to the Bridgestone stage, but you guys know where you are already. Hopefully you've had a fantastic festival. We're not going to do long intros or anything else. Guys, please put your hands together for Adam Riemann and Ricky Johnson. Very briefly, a huge thank you to the ABR Festival for making this happen, but genuinely, a big thank you to Alpine Star for loaning us these two legends. Have you guys had a good festival so far? Yeah. Weather's awful, isn't it? All right, so here's the format. I know most of you have been to the festival before and you've been to this stage before, but very briefly, Lisa and I are going to chat to these guys for probably 15, 20 minutes, maybe not even that, because the bottom line is this stage is about you. Your opportunity to ask these two guys, these two incredible riders, the questions that you've got buzzing around in your head. I'm not going to pretend that I'm not a fanboy of both of these extraordinary riders and the influence they've both had on, well, riding in general, but we do want to pass the mic over to you. So don't get caught off guard, don't miss your opportunity. Lisa's going to jump down with the microphone. Don't be shy. If you've got a question for either of them, put your hand up and let us know when we come out into the audience.
So start thinking of those awkward questions right now. Okay.
So our job is not always easy in as much as that we're meant to give a brief intro, but the problem is the accolades that both these gentlemen have are so long that we could be here for an hour. So for anyone that's lived under a rock since motorcycles were invented, Ricky Johnson, five-time motocross champion, two-time supercross champion. You've won the Baja 5 or 6 times. Adam, how many subscribers do you currently have watching your small YouTube channel?
No one's interested in subscribers after that list. Like, seriously? Let's talk about Ricky. I'm interested.
So one little fanboy moment. Has anyone seen the film Dust to Glory? So when Ricky starts to speak, which is any second now, you're going to recognize his voice, and he is the opening voice to that entire film. If you've not seen Dust to Glory, which is an iconic movie, please make sure you leave here and go home and watch it. It is absolutely special and breathtaking.
Do you know what I think we ought to do? We ought to just sit here and just take snapshots and let Adam interview Ricky. That might be.
God, that would be. Actually, we should do that. Or we could just have a few drinks. Do either of you guys want to drink whilst you're on stage?
We have.
We're good. Water.
We're good at this point.
We're good.
So, Adam Riemann, you were here 2 years ago. Again,
last year.
Was it last year?
Last year.
You made a big impression last year.
Clearly.
That was me on stage with you last year.
Wow.
Oh, him, not me.
You can tell this is going to go weird and downhill really, really quickly.
So I want to know when you both arrived in the UK.
He's been here for a while. He's been was up to Scotland, over to Ireland. So we've been going back and forth. So I'll just give you a quick brief on our relationship. We met a couple of years ago at the Australian KTM rally, and I'm like a lot of you. I scan YouTube and I watch this, and I found this Australian guy that's willing to go any place in the world and does a phenomenal job filming it by himself. And that's what puzzled me, because I came from a generation where I rode motorcycles, did my racing, and the newspaper came out during the week or at the end of the month. So I didn't have to deal with phones and pictures and all the crap that goes along with that. But also we weren't able to document all the things that we've done. And that's when I became a huge fan of Adam's and how he's able to do everything pretty much by himself. Every now and then he'll take another rider with him and film it, but I've experienced watching how he sets the shots up, finds a good place. If you've seen some of the things from the Altera and Alpine Star videos, we were doing some shots in up in the Dolomites, and it was just a blast to ride with him, because it all comes down for me about riding motorcycles. You know, I was waiting for one of you guys to ask me, when did I make the transition to adventure bikes? And I was gonna say I started riding adventure bikes at 3 years old, because every motorcycle is an adventure bike. If it's a Royal Enfield, if it's a BMW, if it's a Honda, or whatever it is. You can, if you have the time and the expertise, you can do what Adam does, or you can do a 20-minute ride like I do in the afternoon and put on my boots and helmet and go for a ride. So anyways, without a long overdue speech here, is that we became friends a few years back, and we've sort of re-fired our relationship as friends and riders and through Alpine Star and Altera. So I'm excited to be here, and honestly, I'm kind of humbled to share the spotlight with this superstar here, because we walk around and everywhere I go, it's like someone comes up and I pull out my Sharpie, I'm ready to sign an autograph for them, and they go, hey bro, or not bro, it's mate, my bad. Usually it's much more colorful. Can you take a picture of Adam and I? And I'm like, oh, absolutely, Kurt, give me your phone, let me take a picture.
Right, a little bit of perspective here. Growing up, you know, I was just nothing was paved the way for me. If I wanted to ride a bike, I had to get a job. My parents weren't into it, and I was just a kid grinding away, working at a supermarket to buy a shitty little bike. And then at some point, I had to get the gear to protect myself for the pace that I was starting to ride, and I saved up for what seemed like half the price of the bike that I'd owned, and bought a pair of Alpine Stars boots. Now, just the connection with that will come. But as time went on, the only real vision I had of someone who could ride fast on television was this guy, right? So I'm coming into high school right through his career, and it was just worlds away. I was getting slightly better at riding bike, I wanted newer bikes, and I just started riding through the bush and enduro racing, and then one thing led to another, and I took on my own direction. No supercross championships, no motocross championships. But then years later, as a journalist that evolved into a moto-mounted cinematographer, I'm filming for the KTM rallies in Australia, 2017, and I was on a KTM 1190R. I'd had a bit to do with adventure bikes by that stage, and then this guy that I had been a fan of, like a somewhat of a hero since childhood, he's there. And it's like, this is Ricky Johnson. He's here in Australia, what's this? Anyway, I find him on trail, and I'm like a few of you guys out there stalking me on your bike. And I was like, that's Ricky Johnson. And I found him on trail.
I'm gonna whip his ass.
And I thought,
he's coming after me.
Your Supercross championships are over, man. This is my domain. Anyway, I found him on the trail, and he's taken a clean line, and he's all picture perfect on I don't know, you're probably on 1190, and I just blew past the roughest line, and the bike's skipping and bucking, and rocks are flying out the side. And then when we got back into camp, he comes over to me and he says, dude, you ride the fuck out of that thing. And basically, we kind of have been friends ever since. Because I know that, in the racing circles, and holy shit, the intensity and the pinnacle of where you've come from, you kind of nobody unless you can ride, right? So the only way to get on his radar was literally to blow him off on the trail.
And he did.
Which brings us to here and today. I mean, how often do you genuinely get to ride together? Have you ridden together since you've been in the UK, since you've been in Europe?
We did today.
Yeah.
I got to go out. It was pretty cool. I got to take one of the Suzuki's V-Stroms out with the slightly modified front forks and suspension, and it was pretty shockingly well. I enjoyed it. I also got to go ride one of the Triumph Tigers, and let's face it, adventure bikes are the Swiss Army knife of motorcycles. They have to do everything, and so when you have to do everything, you have to select what you want to do good. If you're on a GS, you want to be heavy and you want to go down the highway and you want comfort. If you're going a Royal Enfield, you want a cruiser, not so far and it's lighter and all the different stuff. But I was impressed with both bikes, but they're getting so much better now. I'm waiting for active suspension, which we have in the trophy trucks that we race. so that it can read the terrain underneath you. And so when you going down the highway, it's nice and smooth. And then what it does is it has the algorithm. It will read the suspension in front of you and modify. A lot like what they had in Formula One cars a long time ago. It can lower the suspension or raise it. But now they have it in Polaris Razors and some of the Honda Talons. So it's coming for motorcycles, because how many times by a show of hands does your bike work good in one place and like shit in the other? Right? 99% of us. It's like, well, it goes great down the highway, but then it tops out and bottoms out as soon as I hit some bumps. Or it feels good on the, I get the suspension done up for off-road, and it's vibrating and it's all over the place. So it's great to see the technology, but back to the answer, we got to go cruise around today. I got to bask in the glory of the horse. I mean, you want to talk to this guy and you want to see some excitement, talk about his Africa Twin. He loves that bike so much that he won't let me ride it. Like, he will not let me ride it.
Have you asked him with that?
I've asked him, you want to, this is a true story. I have it on film.
He wasn't even at the GoPro arena.
I wasn't there, and I said, true story, and I got it on film. All right, would you rather I ride the Iron Horse or I sleep with your wife? And he said, nobody rides the horse. So he didn't give me permission to do anything, but I winked at the camera and said, I'm on my way to Australia, babe.
You've actually got, I am interested, because you've got the horse, you've got the donkey, you've got the Iron Horse. What is it?
What's with the horse thing?
Names?
It's just feeding the algorithm for YouTube.
That was possibly the best answer you could have given. But it was lovely. So, I mean, a lot of the success you've had on YouTube is largely, and if you ask a lot of people, why do you watch Adam's stuff? What comes across is because he's real. And you say, well, what do you mean? Well, he just gives his opinion. He doesn't fuck around. He doesn't press the flesh. If he likes it, he likes it. If he doesn't, he doesn't. You said something really interesting recently. You were giving a really cool review as to the KLR 650. And you said to camera, I wasn't expecting to like this. You sat down by the side of the bike, and because I watched it recently, you weren't in I'm not in a desperate rush to even change the suspension, because you rode the crap out of that across Australia. And then you said, I think I found my niche, which is riding motorcycles that are not quite in the spotlight, underappreciated motorcycles.
What are you going to answer?
What's impressive?
It's a microphone.
What is impressed you?
You got me on the edge of my seat. I'm waiting for a fucking answer. Come on.
What's impressed you with the 650?
Now.
It's warhorse qualities. It's just a simple, comfortable pleasure to ride. It's low horsepower, comfortable, handles really good. You know, it's from the rally era of Japanese bikes. You cannot don't knock it till you've tried it. And I was one of those, knocking that bike for years, and the people riding them, jokingly, you know. And then, what, I'm answering and now you're cutting in?
Come on, you're killing me. We only have 20 minutes. So I'm gonna interrupt. So I had the same experience. When I was getting a ride, I got a bike from Honda to use, the Africa Twin. Probably at that time, kind of the most advanced, the electric shifting and all the different stuff. And then a friend of mine works at Kawasaki, and I got the donkey, the KLR. Steel handlebars, thin conventional forks. It's just but I'm like, you know what? I'm having just as much fun. In some ways, I'm having more fun because the bike, I feel like I can outride the bike, which I can't outride a lot of bikes. Like, for you to outride the Iron Horse, you are going Dakar speed a long time ago. So it kind of feels good for your ego to get on something that you could twist the throttle really hard and it's not killing you.
So it's not about the tech, it's not about the bike, it's just about whether it puts a smile on your face.
That's right, and you know, they're pretty cheap, they're rock solid. I thought, I'll get this for the farm, but the main thing is just how safe it is for a beginner. And I thought, in time, when my girls are old enough, I'll have this thing set up as the perfect adventure bike for my daughter, not to send her off around the world, but just to be able to come with Dad on a little ride. I know that there's, you know, not too many bikes out there here that I would put a first timer on to come with me on an adventure. But after flogging that thing across Australia completely stock, and the way it composed itself in gnarly high-speed sand situations, all of it, the ABS, just the geometry of it, suspension action stock with luggage, just, you know, overriding it sometimes, I thought, this is a very, very safe motorcycle.
Are we becoming a little bit too reliant on the technology these bikes are now employing? Are we pushing the envelope because that stuff's going to catch us?
It's just marketing spec sheets. It's too much. There's just so much competition, and the only way to outdo each other from your phone is go, oh, better look at the specs on that. Oh, with that one you get this, and yeah, these bikes they're at the bottom of the spec sheet, but out in the desert where it counts, they'll take you all over the world and keep doing it for a quarter of the price. So.
What's it been like riding together though? You're used to riding and racing and really going fast into a place, fast around a place and leaving and not really having any time to just enjoy. You know, when you're riding together, did you take time to sit, enjoy time out?
Well, yes, because where I'm at in my life, and I said in one of the Alpine Star videos, is that when I raced professionally, I would go do motocross the nations. I would fly to the airport, go to the hotel, go to the track, go to the hotel, the track, hopefully take home a trophy and go home. So I never really got to see the world other than a track and a hotel and a car. But that's what which I, through the different channels, but watching Adam is like, he's seeing the world. When you ride a motorcycle different, you feel the world, you smell the world, everything happens. As I said in there, we live in a 70-degree world now. If it's hot, we turn on the air conditioning. If it's cold, we turn on the heater. We get in the car, we set our seats. If it's cold, we turn on our seat warmers. If it's hot, so our asses are sweaty, we turn on the coolers. When you get on a motorcycle, you can put on the right gear to keep you dry and all the different things, but you feel all of the elements when you're riding. So yes, I like to take time, and what Adam and I, because my wrist is completely fused, and I'm trying to learn to ride all over again with using my fingertips on twisting the throttle, so I can't ride at a level that I want to. At a slow speed, I look like I'm doing okay. When I gotta go fast, and things happen, bad things happen. But that doesn't stop my love of riding. I'm not gonna let, 2 knee replacements and a fused wrist stop me from riding, because it's the camaraderie. It's this and this, and this is what I love, is when we stopped at the Dolomites and we were talking and stories come up about early, racing as a child, traveling across, injuries, I mean, things like that. There's something about motorcycle riders that is unique, and in Dust of Glory, those are my brothers as well.
So you mentioned a bit there about kit, and I know that you have been brought in by Alpine Star, and thank you very much, guys, for bringing them in. It gives us this opportunity. But when Simon and I were riding, everything was about making sure your attention span is not limited by being uncomfortable, and we were uncomfortable a lot of the time.
Well, that's what we were talking.
We were this morning.
We talked this morning, and I said I'd like to, so many people, including myself, have crashed because the gear has limited you. And if you look at a lot of the adventure gear in the past, I mean, everyone walks around, we're talking about like a Star Wars,
A Power Ranger wannabe was
exactly.
The phrase I used.
And so you're on the bike and you're so stiff, and then something happens in that moment that you need to get to the brake, change your body position. If you're fighting the gear, that can cause the crash. So I play a balancing game between safety and comfort. It's the same thing I did when I raced motocross. I wasn't going to wear a chest protector when it was hot. I'll take the beating in the chest and deal with it to stay cool. So when I ride, I make sure that it works. And the people from Alpine Stars, I love it, because Gabriel is a rider. A lot of people don't know our history. I've known him since he was 24, I was 22, or 1986. And because they made custom boots for me the way I wanted, that's why I've been with the brand for so many years. But I tell him, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that. Adam is more performance than I am. So he runs more of a motocross kit, more of an enduro kit than I'm more of a traditional, I want comfortable boots, I'm doing more of the adventure style gear. But they're listening to both of us because everybody's different. And everyone's size is different, their strength, their torso, their length, their inseam, all the different stuff. And Alpine Star is trying to find crossing the lines to give you everything you want.
So basically, you guys are actually directly giving input into Alpine Star that's pushing the new Altera range forwards. Now, this is going to be the official launch, is that right, at the ABR Festival?
Yes, it is. And so, and that was the great thing when they told me that they had brought Adam on. I'm like, this is the perfect guy, because I can't do what he does. He took off, he flew over here, he had his boots, knee braces, right? And that was it.
I shipped boots and knee braces and a airbag vest with the bike, flew in with the helmet, uncrated it, geared up, and bare minimum, just a tent, sleeping bag. I wanted to ride the bike, and yeah, probably had not even 10 kilos on the back, a couple of 6-litre bags attached to the crash bars, camera gear, and just went. If I didn't get a hotel, I could just pitch the tent anywhere. So it was a couple of night campings. This is day 11 for me,
so
living off the horse.
This is the same suit for the whole thing, no matter what the weather throws at you?
What I was wearing yesterday at the GoPro Arena, I was wearing day 1 riding out of London. So I have the sleeves that come off the jacket. I had the airbag vest on every day, like I'm carrying it on my body. So I'm in the knee brace, I'm in head to toe gear every day. And then if I'm camping or at a hotel, I'm in these pants. Actually, this t-shirt I saved for this chat. It's a clean one, but it's been rolled up. It's been rolled up in my Lone Rider saddlebags in the Welsh bog. Does anyone follow my social media? Did you see the horse in the bog? So this was kind of half sunk in a one of those side bags, and it's clean, it's dry, did its job. But yeah, this is me living on a motorcycle and climbing up on stuff. Socks are starting to smell. I think that's day 3.
But you guys are in a pretty exceptional position where, at the standard that you're at, and with the influence you have, you must have manufacturers crawling over to say, hey, will you please use this? But what you guys are saying is you are actively choosing to use Alpine Star because you believe in what they're creating. This morning we had a chat at the stand, and what I loved is this is riders designing gear for riders.
There's a lot of rubbish out there, and it falls apart. And when you do the big distances, like there's a lot of stuff that's built to go, oh wow, that looks great, and it's functional, and for the photo, and then you actually use it, and you're using it in Australian conditions, and you're carrying weight, and the terrain's getting rough, and the elements are all at you, and then before 3 days into the trip, you're like, well, that's going in the bin. And it's cost a lot of money, and it's a big thing to navigate through. I've had the luxury of being a journalist and test riding all of it. So the magazines get every single product thrown at them, and I've been lucky enough to work my way through and whittle it down to the best brands that I know, because these missions that I put myself through, you don't need those hold-ups. You need everything to do its job, because you need to focus on, how am I going to get through this border? They're going to go through my stuff. I've got my part. The last thing you need to be thinking about is the bike or your travel gear. It just has to do its job, not be cutting holes in your legs or putting pressure on the back of your head. It just needs to be, and in desert heat, Arctic cold, pissing rain, like all of it. And there's some other big brands out there, and I was like, who signed off on this? Who's testing this shit? Because they haven't ridden 1,000 kilometers through what it's designed for in. I've ended up with the best stuff, and even if I wasn't sponsored by them, I'd be buying it too.
That was our very next question.
My question is, would you put your money where your mouth is?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm very lucky. Like, it's all pretty surreal now. It's all just ramped up. To be partnered up as an ambassador with this guy and with this brand, it doesn't get. I don't need to look any further for what I'm doing. And Pirelli, the tyres I've got, I just did 4,500 Ks on I did put some new motocross tyres on to get around the arena. That was a little bit of insurance to keep the horse on 2 wheels. It's pretty nerve-wracking, like, this is cool. Imagine doing this but worrying about crashing a bike in front of everyone. There's a lot of pressure, so you need the good tyres. You want the good gear,
There's a guy down there, he's so happy that you're human and you worry about this stuff. He's like, oh my God, I would be too. Question for you. Everyone rides differently, everyone wants something slightly different out of a riding suit. What is the biggest challenge of anyone designing riding gear today? Is it trying to make that unicorn suit where it's good enough for everybody, and have Alpine Star done it?
I don't know. I think appeasing the regulations is screwing with a lot of ultimate designs. Yeah, that I should probably not go to. I don't know too much about that, but yeah, I feel like they're at the mercy of what they can and can't do for regulations.
One of the things that I've had in the past is my shape. I'm short, got short legs, fairly rounded backside.
You're hot, just go with it.
And having... I'll see you later, dear.
All right.
Having a suit fit me, it's been a hellish time during our travels. And to have a suit that is able to cover all sorts of terrain, all sorts of weather, and be comfortable for the shorter rider, and also be financially viable for me as well, because when you're on the road, you're broke all of the time. Yeah. I've just spent a bit of time at the Alpine Stars store, and I was most impressed with the range of female riding attire.
Their Stella line is unbelievable. But this is a perfect example, and I don't want to turn this into a complete Alpine Stars commercial, but we went to Oslo to do the ride of the Dolomites, and so Gabriel had some new boots that he wanted us to try. He came out to Adam.
Just to add, Gabriel's the guy that owns Alpine Stars. He's the son of the original boot maker, and I couldn't believe I got to meet him, and he's showing me, like, he's wearing boots and riding bikes around the place. He's doing it.
Yeah,
it's okay.
He's in, and so then he gives them to Adam. We go up and we ride all day, and at the end, Gabriel said, "How are the boots?" And he goes, "I wasn't even thinking about them." So that's when you know you have good gear, that you're not thinking about it. You're not like, well, I got this blister behind my knee because it's chafing me here, or it's pulling on my crotch, or it's falling down, or it's doing this, or it's not designed for me, because a woman's body is different than a man. So if you try to put on, it is, yes it is, and you are well. You're welcome. Is this getting uncomfortable yet? Because I'm starting to get there. Not even close, okay. Adam, you might have to swap seats. But the idea though is that you ride and you're not worn out. And that's the thing, that with the new jackets and the new technology, when I went to Alpine Star to talk to them about this, I walked into their test lab in California and I saw a 790 KTM with bags and stuff on the outside. Robert Keithley, who is the lead designer, who's been with other manufacturers and stuff like that, rides his motorcycle every day, 3 hours through LA to the outside valley. And so I'm like, okay, I believe in this guy, because he has to wear it every day in traffic, when it's hot, when it's cold, when it's all the different things. So it doesn't matter, and I said this in one of the videos, how good you are. The ground is just as hard for him as it is for me. It's just as cold as it is for him or for me. Now, when he crashes, he goes a lot faster, so he crashes longer than me. So the whole idea is that if you have good gear, and it ventilates and does everything it's going to do, it's going to be good across the board.
Now, I know that we've got so many questions, and I know everybody wants to hear you talk, but I have to get down amongst you and get those questions from you. I've got a question for you guys out there. How many have you been wearing kit over the last couple of hot days and been bloody uncomfortable?
I ripped my trousers as well.
Oh wow, all right. How many was that? How many more? It's sticky, it's wet, it's hot, it's chaffing. Oh, okay, that's the
Is it chaffing or chafing?
Chaffing.
Just thought I'd ask.
Anyway,
Right.
Not with the Alpine Star.
I know we could say chat for a long, long time, but you guys are going to be around all weekend.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be here till I'm leaving tomorrow morning. But when we're done with this, because obviously we got to let the stage go to somebody else, Adam and I are going to be up at the Alpine Star booth. I brought some autograph cards from, believe it or not, a photo from 1987 when we won the Motocross of Nations in America. So if you get a chance, come on up, say hello. I've met a couple great people, actually made some friends that are looking to do rides in America. I said, you're coming through California, come see me.
And Adam, are you going to be on the bike out and around?
I'm just going to chill. I'll come up to the Alpine Stars tent with Ricky and say hello.
obviously later at the bar.
Or just out on the grass like it has been the whole time, bumping into everyone and getting photos. It's pretty cool.
Lisa and I are up this morning. The new All-Terra range genuinely is worth your time having a look at. We're not sponsored or linked with them in any way we were both genuinely impressed by what we saw. So Lisa's going to come down into the audience. If you have a question for either of these guys, please put your hand up right now. Lisa's going to do it. Well, that didn't take much encouragement. Lisa's going to do her best to get to as many of you as we can. So what we'd ask is this: just stand up, give us your first name, and then give us your question.
If you stand up, I can run my way to you without having to try and find you amongst the arms. So I've got one over here. There's a lot of bodies here. I'm sorry if I step on anyone.
Good afternoon, Gary Johnson. Question for Adam. Sorry, guys. I'm looking at, I've got a Tiger 900. I find the bike heavy. My wife and I want to go to South America. Do I stay twos up on the 900? Well, that wasn't really the question. What bike round about the 450cc would you take, Adam? Or what bike round about the 7 to 900 would you take?
Double up.
Pick your colour. Like, have you done some test rides here? And what?
I'm going out on the Himalayan this afternoon. I rode the 900 all around Europe and North Africa for about 8 months last year. The 900 does everything, but when it comes to picking it up and you do fall over on the gravel and everything else, it's a heavy bike. Susie rode a CB500X, the same journey. You know,
I would send her to the gym and start doing some Olympic lifts, start doing some squats and stuff to get her to help me pick the bike up.
You drop it enough times like these guys, you get tired.
I'd start with the Himalayan low center of gravity and really comfortable bike.
I agree with that. I think it's great. All right, where are we? Somebody else, please, standing up or right in front of me.
Question for Adam. You've been here 11 days so far. Sorry, Steve. What's your take on the Bob and Marge camper vans here?
Yeah, well, not as many, that's for sure, from the places I was going. But no, just look, the people in Scotland, Ireland, the UK in general, really cool. I fear they probably thought I was American at some point. I don't know, the only time they were ever seemingly angry at me. No, but it was, the people in general have been great around the UK, and you can't seem to do no wrong. I didn't get yelled at for trying to get into off-road areas. I probably shouldn't have been, but haven't even had any run-ins with the police and was on a pretty tight schedule. So no, it's just been the best time, and everyone here kind of validates that. You know, I've kind of met so many of you in the last 48 hours. Yeah, it's been a great time because of the people, especially.
At the back there, Lisa.
My name is Alan, I'm from Wales. I love watching your journey with the Warhorse when you picked it up. I saw you ride the Tet across the Netherlands when you had to get to London. Love the cinematography, the setups that you do. But I watched that scene when you came around that corner and you ended up in that ditch and you cracked the screen on the bike. Do you ever feel like a real twat?
Absolutely. No, absolutely, and I've been wanting someone to ask that question.
Did he say twat?
No, I've been wanting someone to ask that question because I could have packed up the camera a scene before and just been satisfied with, you know, the capture, but I thought, that's not good enough. I can get the horse more sideways than that. And I went back, went another 100 meters further back, clicked another gear higher, and come around that corner. And at that stage, I was totally in love with that bike. I was on track to London to put it on the boat and ship it home. And yeah, when I threw it away, and that was my body that went through the screen and snapped it, and it just ended up in that ditch, teetering on the edge of it. And look, I can't stand bullshit drama. I don't hinge my content on waiting for a crash or waiting for, you know, I don't want to rag on anyone, but there's creators out there that'll dedicate a whole episode to how they pick their bike back up. But the thing is, right, when that happened, I honestly was like, you dickhead. Seriously, just the disrespect to that bike did not deserve that. And at that point, it was pretty tidy, didn't have a scratch on it. I'd done all the damage to it. But what was interesting about that whole scene, I stood up, walked back, switched off the camera, come back to the bike, picked up the screen, looked at it, and I didn't know what the tank was going to look like. They're metal tanks, and I thought, no, you can't get this stuff anymore. That was just an absolute disgrace. Anyway, I thought, I got one shot at this as well, and went to pick it up and ride out of it and just put it in the ditch, and that was it. And I struggled for at least half an hour, sweating, taking my bag off, getting all this shit. I was so frustrated, so pissed off. I had to get the ferry to London, to the UK, and it must have been about half an hour after struggling, I thought, I have an iconic scene of the Warhorse, because when I finally got it out and tucked the broken screen on my bag, got to the ferry, parked up, there was an Aussie there on a GS. He was, you know, he was actually a fan. He'd come over and he helped me stitch the screen. That exact repair and that exact scene has kind of made the name of that bike. It became its name because of that exact dickhead move.
Do you know what? It's really, really nice to know that you're human, and like the rest of us, and not a demigod. All right, okay, I've got another person here.
Andy, pissed from Wales. My question is, how do you get when you dislocate your shoulder? How do you seem to get it back in so easily?
No, I can't be giving medical advice. I've done it quite a few times, and in precious, you know, some other situations, not on camera, in other countries, and it is a real desperate scenario, because if it doesn't go back in, you're not riding, and you're hospital. You need hospital, and it's just experience over the years. I've sneezed it out of its socket in bed, in the wrong angle. Yeah, I probably should have surgery on it, but I kind of rely more on training to keep the meat around it. And yeah, there's a technique that I was shown a long time ago by a surfer, and it's just embedded in me now, and you just got to act fast and do it. But I probably shouldn't be giving any kind of demonstrations, and I don't really want to. But yeah.
Simon's actually done that at times, and had to smack. He said the thought in his mind went through, what would Mel Gibson do?
That whole method was so Hollywood that he was doing. It just doesn't.
It didn't work, and I ended up shitting myself.
Go that way. Yeah.
Okay, another question. I think we've got a chance for maybe 3 more questions, so think up some good ones, will you?
Thank you, Lisa. Bridget here. Adam, we just want to say thank you for all your hours of hard work, because we unwind in the evenings watching your shows at night, and we get many hours of excitement, laughs, and, you know, light hours watching you graft. So thanks for that. Also, just a little request to you both, if you could use your influence with Alpine there, let them know fat girls and guys like riding too. Can we please accommodate?
Yeah, I don't really have any comment other than thank you so much for the support. The only reason I'm in this position is because of people like yourself that genuinely get a lot of good inspiration or just basic entertainment. I don't know, but it's good incentive to just keep doing it.
James I got into bikes after watching the Warhorse video last year. Immediately did 17 days around the Baltic. Do you both remember your first overnight bike trips and what they felt like?
Have you ever gone camping on a motorcycle?
Yeah. It's called Holiday Inn, the Hilton. So I myself have not done a lot of camping off the bike. Because in America you can get to a lot of places, and there's every now and then that you need to camp, and you camp because you want to camp. I don't like to carry so much stuff that I can't ride the bike to its not full potential, but to its upper potential. If I got to carry so many things that I have a tank bag and I'm surrounded and I can't get dynamic forward and back, that goes back to sometimes your gear can cause a crash. So for me, I'm doing more stuff. I'm bringing in experts for like, for instance, when it comes to camping, I'm not an expert. I wasn't a Boy Scout. I was raised on motorcycles my whole life, but I have somebody named Glenn Blake who's an extreme skier. He knows everything about camping, survival, and all the different stuff. So I'm going to bring in the best of the best. And so I am going to be doing some trips in America. I did them up to Idaho and stuff like that. But I just go from hotel to hotel, which I know that's frowned upon on a lot of you guys, but that's just my style.
Hold on a minute. He's making this all sound very professional and by the book, and this is all. He's coming on a ride with me, right? There's no film crew. I can't wait to go through his bike and going, "You're not bringing this. You're not bringing this. Show me your pack. I'll go full drill sergeant on you." And then we're doing big Ks across your country, and we're living off the bikes. So
that's what we're doing. So we just started organizing. He's shipping his bike from London to Los Angeles. We're going to pick the bike up. We're going to go buy Alpine Stars, get him some new Altera gear for the ride. We're going to start California, go through Arizona, Nevada, Utah. We're going to do a whole bunch of the back road discovery routes. So I'm going to show him my backyard, and he's going to show me how to use them to their full potential. So I'm looking forward to
show him how to live off the motorcycle.
Exactly. And there might be a trophy truck with a tent and a air conditioner following us. I don't know. Wow, look at that. Look what's here. How did that Sprinter van get here with an air conditioner and a masseuse? Wow.
There's not a single person here that doesn't want to sign up and come on this journey right now. Lisa, you got another one?
I think it's going to be the final question.
Okay.
Sorry, here it goes.
Hi, Barry. It's Ian here. My question is actually about bike gear. I'm always put off with the bike gear because it's so thick and so many layers of it, and I tend to layer without the protect. I've got a protection thing that I do wear, which is just back and elbows and shoulders. But I like to, as you say, I like to be comfortable, so I like light clothing. And I think I remember in one of your videos, Adam, where it looked like you was putting on knee protection, but it was like as if it was skateboard and stuff, like a sort of not rubber, but Velcro or something like that, and it wasn't solid. Star Wars
I do wear knee braces, so they're their own individual unit, separate to the clothing. And but in terms of layers, yeah, that's exactly how I do it, to the point where I'll select different products from the range to build the kit that I want, which is, lightweight jersey base, then an enduro style jacket, and then a waterproof spray jacket over the top, and a puffer jacket if you're going into the cold Arctic sort of stuff. And those 4 layers you can pretty much ride anywhere in the world and just layer up to suit where you are. Yeah. And basically everything packs into itself. So I've got an Alpine Stars jacket with a rally pocket, and I'll have the wet weather gear in there the whole time. So
what about the trousers? Because they're like a lightweight as opposed to something that's got like...
Yeah, I go for the enduro style pant, which is just a bit thicker than a motocross pant. There's room to move with the knee braces, and they just cop everything. And as soon as the weather gets cold or wet, just the outer waterproof layer goes over the top. And between that, with that kit, I've gone to the Arctic Circle. So
you should definitely take a walk up. So Lisa and I were only introduced to the range this morning, but the first thing that impressed us was the lightweight flexibility of the material versus the Power Ranger NASA Reject stiff material that a lot of manufacturers have used in the past. Seriously, walk up with these guys, go and have a quick look. I think you'll be impressed.
I'm sorry, that's all we got time for, which is a bit sad. I think we should have had double time. Maybe next year we can ask them for the double time.
Well, I'd like to close I was out here for one. I want to thank you guys for welcoming me. You know, as they said, Simon and I were talking. He's like, I want to ask you when you were introduced to adventure bike riding. As I said, it was when I first threw my leg over a motorcycle at the age of 3. But this is gonna be a compliment, so bear with me. I went out and did the Bridgestone Loop this afternoon on one of the Tigers, and we're following some people around and stuff like that. And if you've ever been to a pretty much all-white school, elementary school, when they have their first dance and they don't know how to quite dance, but they're out there dancing, all right? So what I mean by that is I saw some unique riding styles and some things that I've never seen before, like never. I saw a guy who kind of thought he was Marc Marquez. He was taking his foot off, standing up on the inside, off the brake. I didn't know what he was doing, but I'm like, well, you're trying, buddy. You're out there, you're giving it a go. And so the point that I want to make is that what I love about this community is you're enthusiasts. You ride, you rode here, you may have drove here because you're local and you didn't want to ride your bike in and stuff like that, but everybody rides. But I do want to encourage you that if you watch some of Adam's stuff, some of my stuff, some of Birch, some of the different trainers and things like that, you can learn a lot and save a lot of pain and suffering. I was watching a couple people just coming into the corner, rolling off the gas, no brake, don't change the body position, and straight into the bushes. I was like, you have 2 brakes, you have a body position, you have all of these things. So in saying that, when you watch this, take time. Don't just load up and go. Go for a local ride and find a little hill to climb. Then once you're comfortable with that and it gets boring, go a little bit bigger hill. Start going down the hill. Start doing some braking drills. You know, when I train them, I do a lot of training with the military special forces, and I have to train them to stop in all conditions. It starts first gear using just the rear brake, then just the front brake, then the front and the rear, then use the body position to help you stop, then go to second, then to third, then to fourth. Because when I went from motocross to desert racing, I would get up to around 110 on a motorcycle down roads. Sometimes there's a dog, sometimes there's a car, sometimes there's a spectator. I wanted to know how long it takes you to stop. And if I said by a show of hands how many people know how long it takes them to stop, you would all lie and tell me that you do. So take some time. There you go, he does. We have one person. Take some time and practice. Pros practice all the time. World champion motocross guys, fighters, everybody, they practice as much as they can week after week after week. What you guys do is you get a bike, you get your gear, you pack it up, and you're all excited. You watch Adam Riemann go, man, I'm gonna go tackle the Outback. Well, guess what? You're gonna get your ass kicked. So stay local, so where you can fall small, learn from it, but just take a little time. Because as I said, I saw some things out there that I thought I'd never see, or I've never seen before. But I wanna compliment every one of those people. I'm not insulting them, because you're doing it. And that's the beautiful thing about this, is that we're all doing it. It doesn't matter. When I go ride with him, I'm impressed. I follow him, I watch him. You know, he'll give me a little, you look pretty good. I'm like, thanks. But I'm having fun and I'm doing it at my level. And you're doing it at your level. But take a little time and learn your craft. It will go a long ways. Same thing, before you go on a ride, go ride with all of your stuff. Pack up as many things as you can and go do a ride. If you have trails like we have here, see what it's like to go on that. And then you're like, ooh, like he's gonna go through my bag. Okay, you don't need that radio, you don't need that cologne, you don't need that hair, well, I don't need that hair dryer anyways. You know, you don't need all that stuff to carry. But just be ready for your trip. Don't just let your trip find you in the middle of the way. So I'm going to do that in closing, and I want to say thank you to Alpine Stars. Thank you for ABR for having me. Thank you both, you and your hot wife, for having me on stage with such a legend. So thank you, Adam, for sharing the stage.
Guys, thank you very, very, very much.
Please take on those words of wisdom from the best. Have a think about that.
Don't go anywhere just yet. This has been a standout moment in the festival, I think, for all of us. Is it photographs or video that you want? Photographs.
And then
I
we've
know
got
it's going to be
videos.
tough. Can you look really happy like you've had a good time? If we get these guys to understand up? Okay.
Hey, screw that. I got video, so when they say, go, ah! Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Hang on. That was preemptive. Here we go. On 3, we're going to make some noise on the Bridgestone stage. 1, 2, 3. Guys, have a fantastic festival. The afternoon's young, the eagles ahead of you. Thank you to Alpine Star, Ricky Johnson, Adam Riemann. Right far, right safe. Have a fantastic rest of the festival. We'll see you guys out there.